the great leader of the Jewish people to come, and we can set in motion things that will force the coming of the Messiah. So let's speed things up, Netanyahu. Okay? So what this is, I'll explain later on, okay? But I want you to be aware of this, who these people are. Rabbi Sneerson is very important for our story. And Netanyahu, of course, is the current Prime Minister of Israel. All right, let's continue. All right.
We want to know what you're reading now.
What I'm reading?
Yeah.
It's called The Jews Against Rome.
What made you pick it up?
Well, we lost that one. I think we have to win the next one.
We want to know what you're reading now.
Okay. All right. So that's a very quick exchange, okay? So a journalist is asking Benjamin Netanyahu, what book are you reading now? And he says, Rome versus the Jews. It's a book by Barry Strauss, a historian. And it goes on about the 3 wars that the Jews fought against the Romans. And it was essentially a Holocaust for the Jews. A lot of Jews either died or were enslaved. The Romans burned down the Second Temple. So there's this historical animosity of the Jews against the Romans. Okay? But what he said is, what Benjamin Netanyahu said is that I'm reading this book because we lost that war against Rome. But in the next war against Rome, we must not lose. The question then is, who's Rome? It's not Iran, guys. It's probably not Russia. It's probably America, right? The great empire. So this is strange because Israel is the ally of America in this war. But Netanyahu is saying that, no, our real enemy is Rome. And that's what we must prepare for, okay? So I want you guys to keep this in mind. All right, this is Peter Hegseth, who is the Secretary of War for Donald Trump, okay? And this is the year about 2018, where he is in Jerusalem, and he's talking to Christian Zionists, okay? Who these people are, I'll explain later on, okay? But let's listen to his speech really quickly.
And I and others had a chance to go see the Western Wall of the Temple Mount, the Western Wall tunnels, so much of the old city. And as you stand there, you can't help but behold the miracle before you. And it got me thinking about another miracle that I hope all of you don't see too far away. Because 1917 was a miracle, 1948 was a miracle, 1967 was a miracle, 2017, the declaration of Jerusalem as the capital was a miracle, and there's no reason why the miracle of the reestablishment of the temple on the Temple Mount is not possible.
Okay, so he is a Christian. He's not a Jew. But what he's saying is that he's come to Jerusalem and he's visited these Jewish holy sites. And he can't help be amazed, be awed by the beauty, the spirituality of the Western Wall. He also goes on to say that there's been a series of miracles, okay? So 1917 was the Balfour Declaration, when basically the British Empire permitted the Jews to found the nation state of Israel. 1948 was when Israel was founded. 1967 was when when Israel fought a war against its Arab neighbors and won. Okay, and 2017 was when Donald Trump transferred the American embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem, thus recognizing Jerusalem as the capital of Israel. And what he's saying is that, well, if this is a series of steps to achieving a divine plan, then the next miracle should be the rebuilding of Solomon's temple, the third temple, and that means destroying the Al-Aqsa Mosque. Okay? So what's going on here? Okay, again, I'll explain to you later on, but I want you to be aware of who these people are and how they think. All right, let's go one more video. And so if you want to build Solomon's temple, if you want to build the third temple, you need to get rid of the third holiest site in the Islamic world. And how do you do that? Well, there are some options, okay? So,
missiles will hit the mosque and clear the place for the third Beit HaMikdash. That could also be a miracle. If it was up to me, the last time when they shot hundreds of missiles, I would pretend that one missile came from Iran and shoot it down. You know, then all the Arabs will go against Iran, it will be the end of the problems. You make them fight with each other, this bunch of lunatics. Never too late, you deal with a bunch of cowards.
okay, so this is a rabbi in Israel. He's saying how last year, during the 12-day war in June, Iran was firing missiles at Israel. And what he's saying is, you know, that was an opportunity for us to pretend that Iranian missile hit the Dome of the Rock, the Al-Aqsa Mosque, thus destroying it. And then the Arabs will blame the Iranians, and the Arabs will go to war against the Persians. And then we can just sit back and laugh at these lunatics. Okay? So, again, this may be confusing to you as to who these people are, why they are saying these things. All right? But now what I'm going to do is explain to you what is really going on. Okay? And I keep on saying this, but it is hard from a geopolitical perspective to explain this US-Iran war. You have to look at the religious perspective, okay? The religious angle, and that's what I want to focus on today. Okay. Sorry. Okay, so again, this is the three holiest sites in the Islamic world. This is Saudi Arabia, Mecca, Medina, and this is the Dome of the Rock, the Al-Aqsa Mosque, which is where Muhammad was supposed to ascend to heaven. And the Jews and the Christian Zionists believe that this must be destroyed so that they can build the third temple, or Solomon's temple. Okay? All right. So this is the big question in this war. And again, I keep on saying this, but I need to be right in my prediction if my analysis is to be correct. If they do not destroy the Al-Aqsa Mosque, and if they are able to achieve peace, then my predictive model, my analysis is completely wrong, and you just ignore me, okay, for the rest of my life. And I can go back to teaching, you know, great books or something. All right, so let us examine why this is important, okay? So today I want to introduce you to a new theory of game theory called the law of eschatological convergence. Okay, so this is a very hard thing to write down, okay? It sounds complicated, but it's not, okay? Eschatology, what it is a story of how the world ends. And it's very it's very compelling for people because, remember, we discussed this last semester, but as human beings, we have three questions. Where do we come from? Why are we here? Where are we going? And eschatology provides a story that answers all three questions. Why God created us, what our mission on earth is, and what God has planned for the end of the world.